All right. Greetings. Welcome. Thank you for joining me here at Bloom from Within Love. I go by Bloomy, and I know it's been a while because I am going through some processes and transitions, as is many of you. And I have but a moment, a break in between time here to come online and to share something with you guys. I will later, after I complete this video, I will later edit and go back in and add some things in the description box, okay, in terms of some of the resources that I've been using that I feel like will probably be most helpful for some of you who find this interesting, okay? So, in the title, you see, so what is what is this we call the energetic systems? Now, really, in truth, what I want to talk about is I recently completed an entire book. I listened to it, rather. It's called The Energetic Codes by Dr. Sue Morter. You can find her here on YouTube as well. And OMG, that's all I'm going to say on the book. I'm going to share her link after I complete this video. And, you guys hear me talk about energy all the time. The model of the company is everything is energy, balance is key. But a couple of things that I want to talk about today and what kind of provoked me to come on is first and foremost how medication, prescribed medication, and don't get me wrong, so I'm not on here as anti-medication. So I'm just going to throw that in here as a disclaimer for anybody. That's not where I'm going. But since everything is energy, energy affects energy. There is vibrations and frequencies, if you will, in everything in existence. So energy is affecting energy. And if everything is energy, then energy is going to have a consequential effect. So, energy affecting your energetic systems, in other words, your chakra systems that's within the body, your body itself, and also the energetic systems around the body, the ethers, in other words, your auric field. And in other words, so how does that affect everything? How is it affecting everything? This thing we call the energetic systems. How is it affecting how you feel day to day? How is it affecting your perception? How is it affecting whether you're now here's a big one that came to me for me. A really, really big one. It's a very, very popular in demand topic in the self help community, even in the conscious aware community. Self love, love of self. It's almost like the whole purpose of the human journey, getting back to self. And quite honestly, a part of me is always kind of like, okay, you know, I've dove in, I journey, I do the work. So I'm not really an individual that's just surface. Okay. So I understand that there are people that are in different places in their lives where it's just more surface. It's more just the external. But I typically journey. However, that is in layers as well. And so, I've always been like, okay, self-love, okay. you know, like not really understanding that, first of all, we already come with a whole lot of sludge and gunk and mire, as Dr. Morter was saying. You're going to see that if you listen to her book. We already come with that predisposition. And depending on how much trauma and belief systems and ancestral codings we got running, we may have a whole lot of it. Okay. So chances are that that whole topic is eluding us at its core. Now, to simplify why I'm even here, I'm talking about energy, how medication is affecting it, right? The simplisticness of this here. I don't want to go too quantum-y and science-y, though I love all of that. I believe it's all relevant and it's a lot more simpler than we think. But just in our day-to-day existence and our breathing and our interactions and our thinking, feeling, moving, exchanging, deciding, handling, adulting, whatever you want to call it, how is it all affecting everything? If the energetic body is out of sync and out of alignment for whatever reason, medication plays a role. Now, we have various things that are always contributing to what's happening with the auric field, what's happening with the energetic field. Now, I'm not going to get into the broad spectrum picture here of there's really nothing outside of us and we are everything and yada, yada, yada. And we created it and we signed up for, because then we're splitting hairs. But to address the 3D dimension, even though it's conceptual, to address the vehicle that we've chosen to carry and how these energetic systems that's this all intertwined soul, spirit, body are being affected also by medication. It came to me because I recently started taking a particular medication. I'm not really one that's on medication, so I know that there's a lot of people that's out in the world just in general. I know of people that have been on lifelong medications or have ailments and things like that. And so I asked myself, this is what kind of provoked the video. I'm like, so for those that are currently on any kind of prescribed medications, how are they to address maneuvering their energy from and in terms of keeping that in sync or clearing and balancing and aligning from the toxicity effects of medication, just like anything else, because we're affected by the food as well. So anything that we're ingesting, but I'm pinpointing medication because it um, may have a little more denser effects or more harsh effects than some of the other things, especially those of us that probably eat a little bit more healthier, or those of us who don't have a lifestyle of like drugs or alcohol, because people who indulge in those things, they probably already know how that's affecting them, okay? But but the good news about all this is that it's all energy, and when we start to learn how to connect to that or master that or tap into that, then we can clear, align, balance, if you will, because we're understanding its energy, okay? Now, don't get me wrong, we can't bypass the real journey or any of the work. And I don't even like using that word work, but because the things that are going to come up in your journey is anything that you signed up for, you know, any of the pains, the traumas, the lessons. Um, we can't bypass it, but we can learn how to maneuver the energy though. We don't have to label things the way we think we do. We don't have to attach to it. We don't have to linger. The body needs to feel it though. The body. This is where I'm bridging all of this because the energy in itself, it needs to circulate. It needs to circulate and move and come out, if you will. Okay. Um, properly. Energy is movement. It's movement. Even things that we think aren't moving is actually moving, but that's for another video. Um, so now, as it relates to this whole thing about self-love or love of self, haven't you ever wondered? Now, I've asked myself this question for many, 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 many years. Even still, I've had times when I was in sync with my soulful self, times when I was what some would say most in my vortex. I I can sense what is probably more known to be the soulful self or love of self. I don't know how to equate the words to describe those feelings or um those moments, right? But here's the great I can't talk the great question here. I've asked in this journey for years, and many of you probably have. If you haven't, you will. It's easy to find that state of being when either you have gone through a great triumph, right? They would call mountaintop triumph, or others would say when you're, let's say off in your yoga class or you're in your meditative state. And so this is when you're aligning or you're practicing those practices. And so you connect or you may have those moments there, right? Okay. So others would say that. But that's not really what this journey is about because I'm learning and I'm hearing more and more that this is something that can continue to be as a state even as we journey through and shift and things are shifting and changing and ever unfolding, right? Living from the soulful self. Haven't you guys ever wondered, like, well, what does it feel like? Like for real, like, what does it feel like to truly love yourself? Not the cutesy stuff we talk about that everybody virtually on the planet talks about that you can find a trillion videos about. Like, but what does it feel like? What does it feel like every day to day and look like to be one that is truly in love with self? And many would come up with various adjectives and verbs. Oh, it means you just respect yourself, you choose yourself first, you take care of yourself, you the distance, you know what I'm saying? Standard default statements if you ask this question. Which I must say, I agree. But what happens when we wobble in our energy? What happens when there are some more layers unfolding that we set up, by the way, but there's some more layers unfolding in our own energy field or in our own uh, life path or whatever you want to call it, and there's a wobble. So there's like a brief disconnect. It's not a real disconnect, by the way, but the energy body has been affected. And so it's my desire for myself, which is something that I've been integrating a little bit more, especially within the last, I want to say, week or so. I've gone really gung ho on this because of some transitions I'm going through in particular. And like I said, I listened to Dr. Sue's book straight through. And it's just been an added bonus to the many other modalities and practices that I know of and been using. And I recently completed my Reiki um, schooling class that I was a part of. And but I won't have my official attunement. My official Reiki attunement will be at the end of this month. So I'm preparing for that as well. So I will be an official Reiki master, you guys, and I'll update you guys on that a little bit later. Um, so energy, energy, the energy body, medication, how is it affecting us, our day to day, and even our self love journey? Because there's medications that you would take. And if you look at all of the descriptions or you go online and it's telling you, okay, these are the effects and yada, 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 right? And I'm like, well, what the? I was like, well, I gotta just sit there. And we don't, we're so on autopilot a lot of the time. And it's like, oh, well, hell, it's altering the nervous system. What the damn hell? You know what I'm trying to say? It's altering the freaking nervous system. All of these things, there's a trickling effect. Energy affects energy. It's all interconnected. So if it's affecting this, it's affecting this, and so then it's gonna chances are affect this decision and this choice and this. You guys see where I'm going here? And I'm not saying this in a way to make us feel this is it's good news. It's not really to make us feel some kind of way. It's more awareness than anything. And what's kind of ironic about this and Dr. Sue's book, and I'm gonna provide some links on her YouTube because you can like listen to her YouTube videos if you're not able to access the book. And so if you have time, I think a couple of them is kind of lengthy because she has like part one and part two on the energy codes. And so, but I mean, it's well worth it. And the interesting thing about it is it's a lot simpler than we think. So, for an example, before, I went off to start my day way earlier today, I I allow myself to just sit, I got my glass, of alkaline water and lemon. I did a foot detox on myself. And those of you who know a part of my business, we um do the ion foot detox, right? I was guided to do it. Ironically enough, because of a dream that I had and the connection that I'm making with energy, prescribed medication, and how it affects the energetic body. And trippy, after I did this foot detox, I noticed an instant energy shift in my own energy field. And I also noticed how different the water was. And I was like, this is unique. So I took note of that. I'll talk about that probably on another video. But I instantaneously felt a shift in my energy just from doing that, my foot detox and my glass of alkaline water with lemon. Okay. And I was guided to do that. But after I did that simple thing, I just did breath work, mindful breath work, though. Dr. Sue talks about this. And when it's mindful and intentional, and and since I've been practicing this a lot already, it's a little easier for me But when you're able to connect to your internal energy like that and can actually feel your chakras, because I can actually connect to most of my chakras and feel them and breathe into them. And sometimes I can even feel them spin. So as I as I did the mindful breathing, just sat there and I allowed myself just to be still. I allowed thoughts to be thoughts. I allowed all of the rambling of the mind. I allowed, you know, um, that to come and go because eventually it dissipated. I allowed emotions that wanted to come up. I allowed some of the memories and thoughts that wanted to come up because a lot of it is stuff that have been stuffed, unresolved things. So I just allowed it to come. I didn't attach to it. I just sat with it. Then, of course, me being me, I always end up doing my mantras that I do, um, and mudras, which are the hand movements and sacred geometry to help energy flow through. And after I did that, I just said some more. Nothing special, nothing deep. Okay, nothing special, nothing deep. But I was observing during this time my energy. I wanted to see what was going on inside my body. What was I feeling, right? I was like, okay, hmm. And I have been for the last week or so practicing this as I go out and about, doing my various, day-to-day things, whether I'm going to work, whether I'm driving up and down the street. When something happens, when I feel tense, I'll stop and I'll do like a quick little thing inside. Where am I feeling it in my body? So that I can manage my energy and allowing it to move so I can move the energy, right? Because like she said, it gets clogged and sludged and all that, and we splat. She calls it splatting. And I've had several splats within the last few months. Oh, good gracious God. But it's because I wasn't connecting the dots on some particular things here and allowed myself to disconnect out of my soulful alignment, the soulful self, the high heart energy. So some of you may come on eventually and say, why is she sharing this? And I'm not able to see the screen at the time, so maybe I'll go back on and some of you may have asked the question or say, "Why is she sharing this?" And it's for those of you who are like me. Those of you who are like me, and those of you who resonate, with Bloom from Within Love, they can understand the complexity of the journey even though it's simple. And I say complexity from our ego perspective and not in judgment, in love of just who we are and the unfoldment of what this looks like for us. Sometimes, it's not always nice and clean and smooth and point A to point B or, you know, um, step one, two, three, and shebang, bam, boom, you know. Um, and just to share, the practical things, when I stumble across stuff, like Dr. Sue and anything that I start incorporating and integrating into my life, that I find helpful, I'm certainly going to share it with you guys. And I'm certainly going to share the realities of what things really look like. I'm not going to just only share the peaches and cream version of it. I'm gonna share like, well, there's splats, and splats mean you get out of sync, you get out of alignment. You know, oh my God. But that's from externalizing everything, and that all has to do with energy, though. Oh my gosh. Um, I feel like I'm going all over the place here, and I probably am. But but 'cause there's so many topics that I wanna share that's been coming to me in the last week or so that I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm letting go of all those programs. Oh my god." My intention, I'm gonna talk to the galactics. I'm tapping in. I'm so gonna do it. Because I get now, it's stuff that's coming up, but I realize too that I gotta manage my energy. I gotta stay on top of that. My soulful self, my soul energy, because otherwise, I mean, to me, that's the meat and potatoes. That's the foundation. That's gonna keep me there and keep me going there. Um, because a lot of our pain and suffering, most of our pain and suffering, and I say our because I'm a part of you, it's all because of what we've been conditioned into and indoctrinated into. It's conditioning, everything externalized, programs, attachments, belief systems. And it came to me, and I know it's off top. I'm reading off topic for a second here because it came to me the other day. I was just chilling, and um, like most, I'm kind of a silly girl. Outside of what I do, most people who know me personally, they know like I'm actually kind of a funny girl. Um, and I like TV, I like laughter and jokes and regular, right? But I was just chilling like the other day watching some rando stuff like I always do, right? But then it hit me. I was like, look how subtle it is. And it's almost like 12 light bulbs came on or something. I don't know what happened to me, but it was so very subtle. I was like, "Oh, this is why we've been overly obsessed for so long with stuff like this, and it's become so challenging for us to not be so consumed with it." And y'all saying, "What is she talking about?" Okay. The idea of romance. Think about love and romance for a second. Love and romance, or love and marriage. Just think about that. Love and marriage, love and romance. Think about that. Then think about if you're one that's in the religious sector, okay, then think about what that indoctrination has been about in terms of love and romance, right? So we've been totally bombarded with subliminal messages, themes, storylines, plays, videos, music, one thing and another that says in an indirect way. And it'd be funny because we like laughter. So I'm not saying that this stuff be like bad, but the message, the energy, think about what I'm saying here, that your life, is going to be great when you meet the one. It's going to be wonderful when you finally get chosen. Or, you know, the storylines of, good girls finishing last, good guys finishing last, somebody cheating, somebody lying, or what I'm saying, or putting men on pedestals and you know, making it like the all in all to life is you have to get married and just these subtleties, and I'm saying this because it was this show that I was watching that I love, and it's a cute little show, but the girls were these older women, by the way, they were not even young girls, okay? They were older, they were in this Alcohol Anonymous recovery group or whatever, and so she was finally going out on a date, but they were making this huge deal, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, he's on his way, what if he don't like me?" And I just sat there and I was like, "Wow." I said, "Yeah, I see it now. I get it." So that's been the theme, that's been the program, that's been a part of it. Um, why we get, attached and how it becomes like this incessant, lifelong pursuit. Think about it. The most popular tarot readings are love readings. And I'm not saying it's wrong, not judging it. I'm observing that we were conditioned and came with our own programs already. So we came with our Akashic programs, we came with our ancestral programs, already in the DNA, but then into the cultures and in the realities in which we live. And so, it's constant. We go to sleep to it. We lay down and we're watching shows and they're talking about, you see where I'm going? And you guys may say, what's the point of where is she going with all this? What I'm starting to catch up with my soulful higher self has always known. That's actually the one of the biggest erroneous things ever. Because anytime it's not just with love and romance though, that's just one of the prime examples of the traps that we're always in. Anytime we're externalizing like this, it's giving away our power every time. And it is it is implying that we're not complete, whole, or happy. It is implying that it's contingent upon something or someone external. And I've always thought I knew this, right? All along. But I don't think we do. Are we able to feel our love when the people in our lives aren't behaving in ways that we want them to? Are you able to tap into your own divinity? That is my question of the hour for me because it that's the quest. Because if we're not finding that, then we've missed the whole point. And it's not about, well, does it mean that you just stay in things that are not feeling fulfilling? I don't think that's what it's implying. I think that we'll find that as we continue on the quest of the internal, a lot of the external is going to just by default change. It's going to change. Not because we're forcing it, not because we're manipulating it, not because, you know, we're trying to put square pegs into round holes. But vibrationally speaking, we'll be seeing from different viewpoints, and or vibrationally things that are not fitting or serving will either dissipate, fall away, shift into some other version or something, into something different, and we choose something different. Y- this is what I believe. I don't think it's about approaching everything from the external, say, oh, I need to cut this, cut this, cut this, cut this. My belief is that that approach is why we go in circles, because it's still internal. Can we find, can we have self compassion for ourselves, self love? Can we find that energetically in our challenging times? And I don't even want to say challenging, but just an honor. I'm saying it to validate and honor in times of transition, or times of seemingly uncertain situations, or times where, as Dr. Morter would say, you've splatted and you splatted good. Okay. Can we find and tap into love for self? Can we find our soulful self? Can we find self compassion? Can we find just allowance, just acceptance of what is? Can we integrate what's showing up dead on, looking at it dead on, but in love, though, instead of judgment? 'Cause see, from the soul's perspective, from the soul, the higher soul's energy, there is no judgment. Even when we splat, it's only ego's energy with judgment, conditions, and harshness. And it is with my deepest, sincerest heart desire for myself, as I am Bloom, but for any of you who will ever embark on this journey with me, that you find your unique way to understand energy, and more specifically, to understand how to maneuver and manage your energy. And of course, how to come back home to you, how to align with your soulful self, how to reset in the most simplistic way, in the most thorough and quick. I'm one of those. You wouldn't know it by the way I talk and the way I study, but I am one of those, because I do realize that most of us, we feel like, we have regular day-to-day lives, and we ain't got time for complexity. We ain't got time, for, you know, to go in special rooms and do special things. You know what I'm trying to say? Joe Blows, regular Joe Blows, you know? And I get it. I totally get it. That's why I said, what's going to work for you? And I believe starting all with our breath and being willing to feel into your body. I had gotten some energy work done a long while back. I want to say back in May. One of the things that, I mean, I've gotten lots of energy work done since then, but I had gotten a particular type of energy work done back in May. And one of the things that was said is that because of the things I had gone through in my life's journey, my life's path, you know, different lifetimes, and this particular carnation, in childhood and things like that, that I hadn't really loved myself and that I had been conditioned and taught not to even love my own mind and body. And that even as I had been on this ascension journey, like trying to not be overly too connected, but that we were still to love the mind and body. And that it was important, that it was an important element to connect and like getting into earth, you know, to ground, but being willing to feel and be vulnerable and feel into your body. That's a way of honoring the vessel. And I want to share that with you all. That is a way because the breath work and being present with your body is going to allow the management of the energy because you got to feel into your body because the body is sending signals of where the energy is stuck. Next time you find yourself upset, if you have but a second or two to get with yourself, try to see if you can connect to your body and see where you feel some kind of a sensation in your body. Because you will, because the body is intelligent that way. It's going to give you a gauge of where that energy is at. And the breath work connected to that is going to allow you to breathe through as you connect to source above, Gaia below, letting those energies synchronize through you, clearing and through the chakra systems just by intention. If you can't see it, but by intention and breath work and breathing into wherever that tension went. And you can feel the tension. You don't have to try to make it go away. Just feel it. That's connecting with that energy and allowing it to be, but allowing it to pass through instead of trying to stuff it, ignore it, you know, go on an unhealthy paths with it, yada, yada. And then you'll connect back as you continue to breathe. You're going to connect with your soulful self, which is always there. You'll get back into alignment with that energy, your soul energy, your heart energy, which is where we all want to be. It's what we're looking for in essence. It's why we chase love. It's why I just never really thought you could get it that way. You know, I didn't, you know, I was like, yeah, you know, you really can't get it inside. You know, I mean, I used to just make these jokes back in the day. I'm like, no, well, yeah, you know, but we must. because otherwise it's going to always be being projected outwardly, and people will always disappoint you no matter how many new ones you choose. Sure, we can choose better and make better choices, but I'm telling you now, people will disappoint because that's our human condition. And then we shouldn't be attaching anyway because that's the whole thing. It may not be designed forever and ever. We get attached, and that's usually an issue in itself. We got some abandonment pains there. We got some other stuffs underlining there. Oh, it's got to be forever because we put a meaning to it. If it ain't forever, it means, you know what I'm saying? And I'm speaking from my own pains here, you guys. This is my own story. But they're programs, all illusions, because I am my own love, and so are you. None of that stuff is real. No one is the source of my bliss or yours. We spend lifetimes trying to tap dance and perform, and it still don't be nothing. You know, it's like because it's not meant to. So I invite you all to go on this journey if you're not already on it. It's an interesting one, I'll tell you that. But it's actually beautiful too. It's a beautiful one, interesting one, and it's an empowering one. And does it have its peaks and valleys? Yeah. Yeah, but you got this. We're made for this. Love is present. So let's start breathing. Let's start mindfully breathing. Breathing. Getting still and breathing. Getting still and breathing deeply and mindfully. That's a good starting point with managing our energy. Okay. All right. So I'm going to get going because I have things to do. As I said, when I go back, I plan to edit this a little bit later when I get a chance, and I will put Dr. Sue's information in the description box for those of you who may be interested in her videos and YouTube channel and book information. That okay? All right. So until next time, you guys know that I send you love and light, and I hope that you guys are sending me love and light and high vibes because I certainly can use it. Um, and I just hope you guys are safe out there and just taking care of yourself. Okay, that's really going to always be the theme of what you guys see me do, and it's a reason for it. It's so a reason why you guys see me come at you guys with that approach because there's so much other stuff. And I'd really rather be a little bit more productive in my time here with you guys. Okay. Because that's the greatest thing we can do for humanity is honoring the self in a healthy way, in a healthy, heart, soulful way. Okay. That's the best way you'll be able to serve anybody. okay? Not fighting, not having, you know, 13-hour debates on foolishness that still ended up nowhere. I mean, that's just my humble opinion. You know what I'm trying to say? It's just, it's love. Does love require action? Action is to love. It's to love and to know, to take divinely inspired action that's in resonance with your high heart energy. That's what I'll say. You have to know that. Nobody can tell you what that is for you. Okay. All right. So I gotta go. Send you guys love and light. Take care of yourself. Namaste. Oops. I lost my clicky button thingy. Okay, so namaste for real this time. Bye bye.